ESPN First Take. Guys, welcome back to the show, and congratulations on getting the #1 pick and what looks like to be a pretty fine draft overall. But let's start from #1. Why is Matthew Stafford the missing piece that the Lions have been looking for ever since 1957?
The answer to that question is we really have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, the Matt Stafford pick, I think over the course of the entire draft, we were ready to give them that pick, whether they wanted to take Aaron Curry or Matt Stafford or anyone else in between. I think if the rest of the draft went well, I think the city was willing to go with whatever they thought the Lions felt was necessary. So being that I feel like the city in general feels that the draft didn't go that well, at least locally, the Stafford pick kind of becomes irrelevant. I guess it's just a let's see what happens philosophy.
All right, well then, given the economic climate there in Detroit, of course around the country, but especially there in Detroit, how are people there reacting to his huge 6-year contract? And of course that includes more than $41 million guaranteed.
To be truthfully honest, they announced the money figures, I believe, Friday evening, and it was before really any of the sports talk stuff had a lot of chance to go off. I think that's going to be more today. I think what's going to happen is they're going to kind of ignore that fact. I think that it's like a secondary function of, you know what, I didn't like the draft in general, and then Stafford got paid too much. I think the consensus is sort of a little bit of like, you know, let me first say that I don't feel the draft went well, and then, by the way, they paid Stafford how much again? There is a lot of incentive-based situations going on. I think if he makes the Pro Bowl every year, he can get up to $78 million, I believe. I'm not quite sure the number on that. I think it's a secondary point to the reaction to the draft at the moment.
But they're also talking now, second-guessing, well, what's the value here, and what would have been the best value if they would have signed some people coming in before the draft. So they're making those comparisons, and I think there's a lot of fans that are disagreeing with the Stafford choice.
So you guys are saying overall there in Motown and in Michigan, people don't like how the draft went?
Honestly, yes, very much so. As a matter of fact, I tried to be very neutral in the situation. I let the draft happen, and I was like, you know, I'm going to be open-minded. The first pick was selected. Everyone knew about it. The second pick came in. I had a draft party, and it was a pretty overwhelming, what the heck are they doing? And then the third pick came in.
It was Delmas, right? The cornerback?
No, that was Pettigrew.
Oh, Pettigrew, the tight end out of Oklahoma State, yeah.
And then the problem was when the third pick came in, everyone's like, you know what? I'll give them that second pick if they pick Malaluga, the middle linebacker. We needed a middle linebacker. We needed a face with his defense. And then the other one picking Delmas, which, like I said, he's a fan. All these players, I believe, in the first couple rounds, I don't think you can argue that they're good athletes and they're probably strong players. But when you look at what we needed and basically the consensus of what we thought as a city would be successful and beneficial, I think a guy like Malaluga would have been an amazing choice. And then would have, in essence, I think the city would have given them that second pick. But because of the Delmas pick, then they looked at the top 3 picks and said, what are they doing again? You know?
Yeah. I think you know, the Lions did say that they picked talent over need, but when you think about it, my first thought was after the third pick was, well, this is not a punt, pass, and kick contest. This is the NFL.
All right.
Their needs are so many. I mean, you can't, if you don't plug up the middle with a linebacker, you know, it's mass versus math. The largest mass moves the smaller mass, and they're undersized.
To be fair, they had plenty of needs, and so just getting players in-house, that was a bonus there for an 0-16 team. Let's move on to this T-shirt. You guys created a T-shirt for Stafford already, and I want to know, from a T-shirt creator standpoint, how excited were you that the Lions choose a guy with a Detroit automaker, Ford, in his name?
I have to tell you, this was like a month in the making. I remember when they announced that Stafford was coming out of the draft, like a little light bulb went off in my head, and I kind of thought, you know, maybe that would be an interesting shirt. And so when we made the T-shirt, we've actually created it about 3 weeks ago, and we're just on the, to be quite honest with you, it wasn't a matter of if we wanted him or not. It was like, you know, if they do select him, that shirt's going up. Yeah. And it just happened to be, they did pick him, and so the shirt is for sale. The back of the shirt, too, because I don't know if some people noticed, but we kind of made it a little neutral. We weren't trying to pick a side if it was a good or bad pick. We have kind of welcome to the club at the top, and then we have every Lions draft pick since 1940, quarterback drafted by the Lions since 1944.
And you'd be surprised at some of the names on those, like Otto Graham and Wyatt Tittle, and you go, wow, now we know why the Lions are Lions.
And then Andre Ware.
But, yeah, Andre Ware. Joey Harrington. But let me also add to this. We have relatives in Atlanta, and when we were looking at this shirt and designing it, we asked them, hey, what do you think of it? Because obviously their #1 pick comes out of the University of Georgia. They're, you know, it's the favorite son kind of thing, and they were excited about it. So we said, yeah, we think this is a win-win.
All right, well, maybe, well, win-win situation would be 2 more wins than you guys had all of last season. So you're already off to a roaring start in 2009. And Doug Zuba, thanks for joining us here on ESPN First Take. Good luck with the sales.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.